What's going on, guys? One love out to everybody. We got UFC Fight Night, Barboza versus Chikadze. Prediction breakdown, guys. Before I get started, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to this channel, and check out my Patreon account, which I'll leave the link down below. Alright? Pretty decent card there. Barboza and Giga. That's an excellent fight. Also notice that they got the tough finale in here also, which I haven't been keeping up with it. I just watched a couple fights on there just to, kind of refresh myself so I can make a prediction and breakdown for these other guys here, right? The Bryan battle and Gilbert Urbina, and the Ricky Turcios and Brad Hiestand, and Andre Petroski and Micheal Gillmore. So I had to go watch a couple fights on that. But we're gonna jump into this fight card here and get this party started. Also, I'm early, guys. It's a Wednesday, right? So let's get this out the way and get this done. All right, break down these fights, predict them. First fight here, we got Mana Martinez versus Guido Canelli. Manny here was in the Contender Series, if you guys remember that. Right? Was it the Contender Series? Yep, it was in the Contender Series. Fought Draco Rodriguez, and he got caught in a triangle choke in that fight, right? Got my notes here, guys. Martinez here, Manny Martinez is going to have the 4-inch of height and the 2-inch of reach on him, right? Striking base, going to be making his debut in UFC though, right? Came off a 2-fight winning streak here. I believe looking for a fight. Dana White was there, I guess, and saw him again and was like, okay, finished the fight in the first round and picked him up, right? Martinez here, he has punching power, man. Very heavy hitter guy. I believe he has a Taekwondo background. Also has a submission game, but he can also get submitted, like you see in the Contender Series, right? So this guy's pretty well rounded, and he's going to have the height and reach advantage in this fight. His opponent here, Guido. Guido is pretty quick, man. Very quick guy. Decent striker, but he can also get submitted. He's been subbed 4 times already. So that's probably the majority of his losses, just all submissions, right? Except for his last fight, he got caught with a left hook, but a rear naked choke. All his losses is just basically by submission. So he has a split loss here, but that was in the Ultimate Fighter show. This is a guy here, though, that is very elusive, very technical with his striking. He's quick at the movement. He's also going to have the experience, but he's 2-6 in the UFC. Okay, so he's 2-6 in the UFC now. Okay. See here. Also, the Ultimate Fighter, he basically, he lost in the show too. So that don't mean he can't win. Like I said, I'm not here to disrespect any of the guys. I'm here to motivate and inspire. And I'm not here to talk trash. That's not my thing. Always positive mindset. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's a fighting game, these guys are going to be punching each other. But at the same time, I have respect for everybody out there. I'm not here to disrespect any of these fighters. These guys put their health on the line. Your health is your wealth. These guys are going in there and taking a beating, man. If you're in that cage, you're going to take a beating. Maybe your first fight, second fight, but you're going to take some licks, man. And your head is not meant to get hit, right? So hats off to all these guys that come in here and put the work in. If they're in the cage, they deserve to be there, man. All right? So not saying that Guido can't win this fight, but I'm not confident in the pick on this one. But I'm going to go towards Martinez for the win. And like I said, I'm not confident, but I feel Martinez can edge out a victory here. And again, Guido can win because he's a more experienced guy and he's a pretty sharp striker, and he got some heavy hands too, and he's very technical and precise. But I'm gonna go with Martinez by KO TKO, guys, and I'm not confident because we see with the Contender Series guys, even though he even lost, but he lost. And we saw with looking for a fight, guys, they usually come into UFC, and when they get the first fight, sometimes they lose and sometimes they win. It just all depends. But I'm liking Martinez, like I said. Not confident by KO TKO. Be careful with this fight, guys. Be very careful because Guido could come in here and pull off a victory. Yeah, Guido bin. See something here real quick. Like I said, Guido is 2-6, so his only wins here is against Rivas and Viviano. So there's only 2 fights, man. So he won back in 2018 and 2015. He hasn't had a win since. And he's not even active. He's not active at all. I haven't fought 2019. Fought most of 2018. It's not really active, man. Age is a number. So I don't really like to look at the age too much. Because, guys can be... It just depends on how you take care of yourself, man. I'm saying on how you train. You train smart. How your health is. Your health is your wealth. Your lifestyle. If he's out there partying and drinking, which he doesn't look like he is, then you can prolong your health. You can be like 46 and still compete. You can be 50, you can be 80 years old and still compete if you really want to. All in the mindset too and how you take care of your body, right? Mentally. But he's 41, but again, like I said, 41 comes with what? Freaking experience. Believe me. So the only reason I'm picking Martinez, because of the track record and what Martinez has been doing, and he's been winning. He's going to have the height and reach advantage, and he can strike. It's not like he can't strike. And he also has a ground game. He's a pretty well-rounded kid, right? Now, if he wasn't such a, not really a good striker, then I would say, maybe Guido, but the guy's well-rounded. So most definitely he has a chance to win. So, and then with Guido, his ground game is not that great, but he has striking. So in a kind of way, Martinez is a little bit more well-rounded. So that's why I like Martinez. KO guys. Next fight here, we have Pat Sabatini versus Jamall Emmers. Pat here, BJJ black belt, and has a wrestling base also. Pretty well-rounded guy. He mixes up everything pretty well. Has a nice double leg on you. He will time you and then go for that double. But what I noticed about him, he will gas out though. And he usually gas out at the end of the second. And then into the third, you can take him down. You can even outstrike him. And his striking is, even though he's well-rounded, but his striking is kind of, how can I put it now? He'll pop you with shots and sidestep, but then he's looking to take you down. So it's merely to set up his takedowns. And when he does that, later on in the rounds, he will get tired because he's doing a lot. He's striking, then he's takedown. And I could see in his fights that he does gas out, right? His opponent here, Emmers. Emmers is going to have a 4-inch of reach, which is massive, and a 2-inch of height, right? Emmers is a pretty well-rounded guy. He's hittable though. And he's hittable when he gets flat-footed, right? But he does move around. Also does Pat move around also. But when Emmers sits down, you can hit him with jabs in his face, right? But once he starts moving his feet, then it's obviously going to be harder to hit him, right? He does slow down though. And he will slow down a little bit in the second round. But then he picks it back up into the third. So it looks like he's a guy that will go first. You come out in the first, go a little bit harder. Then the second, he kind of slows down a little bit, can take a little rest. Then in the third, he picks it back up, right? He will push wrestling. His striking is decent. And he's a well-rounded guy, man. And he's going to have the reach and the height in this fight. And he's also experienced. So he fought Giga Chikadze, which I felt he won that fight. He fought Julian Rosa on the Contender Series, but he lost that fight by a head kick and punches. Beats Corey Sanahan, Thiago Moyes, Ray Chulo. So a pretty experienced guy, man. I mean, he's been doing this for a little bit. Pat is a very experienced guy too. But one thing about this fight that I like more about Emmers is that the reach advantage, and he's going to push the striking. Pat will kind of shy away from it and start looking for takedowns. And when he's doing that, he could gas himself out because Emmers is a pretty experienced and well-rounded guy too, and Emmers could sprawl on him. But when it comes to striking, I feel Emmers has a better stand-up here. So that's why I'm going to go with Emmers for the win here, guys. And I'm going to say Jamall Emmers by decision, right? And I'm not confident in this one because if Emmers comes into this fight and decide not to stop takedowns, he could lose on rounds. He does do well in the first, but he slows on in the second. Pat look like he's good in the first and second, and then in the third he slows down. So if Pat can take him down first and second, and then Emmers picks it up back in the third, he could lose on points. It could probably be a split decision for Pat. Or Emmers could stop the takedown in the first, and then Pat comes in the second, and then Pat pushed the fight, and then Emmers start getting taken down, and then the third round Emmers could, as I'm saying, it's a very close fight in a kind of way. There's different ways you can look at it, so it could be a split decision for each guy. But I'm going to go decision for Emmers, but be careful with this one, and I'm not confident because Pat could win too, okay? JJ Andridge versus Vanessa Demopoulos. Destroyed that, man. I'm sorry about that, Vanessa. I destroyed your name, man, but man, I'm going to try again. Demopoulos. Okay, that sounds a little more better than the first time I said it. All right, so we got JJ Andridge here. JJ Andridge, stand-up base. I believe she has a Taekwondo black belt. Trains with she trains with again. Oh man, I forgot her name. Rose Namajunas. That's it. She trained with Rose Namajunas, right? So she's been training with her. So she's been sharpening up a game with Rose Namajunas, right? Andridge here is going to have the 3-inch of height. Wow. And the 5-inch of reach? Really? She has a 5-inch of reach? Oh, yes, she does. So she's going to have the height and reach over Vanessa. This is a tricky one here, guys. And this one I'm not confident in. JJ could be the more technical here, striker in a kind of way. With Taekwondo base there would throw more unorthodox techniques like spinning back kick, spinning back fist. JJ will look for the takedown, but she can also get taken down. But the only thing about JJ is that she doesn't throw much volume though. She was kind of stand in front of you. She's looking for the opening to time you, but she doesn't throw a lot. And she don't really have no power, right? And she's also hittable. Okay, you can hit her with jabs when she's there. When she's moving, she does a little better. But when she's like kind of straight on in front of you, she starts eating jabs, and you can hit her with straight down the pocket. So either jab or straight down the pocket reversed on the pocket, right? So, like I said, this is a tough one here, but I would say JJ may have a little more technical striking, but Vanessa is not too bad of a striker. She's more wild. With Vanessa, she's more of a bull, right? A little more aggressive, a little more heavier with the strikes, and her ground game is better, right? So if she can get this fight to the ground, JJ could be in problems, right? Vanessa will throw her hands with combinations. She throws a lot of combos, so she has more volume. But her head is straight up though. So this is a next chick here which will eat shots. But when she eats it, she come forward and keep on throwing. That is why I say with Vanessa, she has more volume. With JJ don't really throw much. She just looks for that one technique at one shot, but in that one shot, she ain't got no power in it. So while she's looking for that one shot, Vanessa is just scoring. If JJ had power now, it'd be different. Okay, just take one shot. But Vanessa will look for the submissions, but she will slow down though. But then she will keep on going though. That's the thing. She will slow down, but she keep on pushing it and just take damage. She does take a lot of damage. She's very sneaky with the submissions too. Very slick and sneaky with it, man. And like I said, she takes damage, but she will keep pushing forward and eating shots, right? I think she's making her debut here, I believe. Coming from LFA. This is a tricky one here. I mean, JJ could win this, but JJ has no power. Right? She has no power in her shots, and she low volume. So, I mean, she has 2 by KO, 7 by decision. She's more a decision fighter. The Crystal Chicker doesn't show much on her power. I mean, JJ has more knockouts, but the way how Crystal, the way how she throw her shots, she put more of her body behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like she's more straightforward with more volume. So there's more of a chance of her maybe can end in this fight by a knockout or TKO, right? So, but you see most of her things is on the submission. So this is a girl where I feel can mix up the fight a little bit more. So with JJ Andridge, yeah, she stand up, but her grown is not on the level of Vanessa, in my opinion. And JJ can get submitted, right? So even though Crystal making her debut here, Crystal Vanessa, she have a lot of names. I'm going to go with Vanessa for the win here, but again, I'm not confident. You know what I'm saying? Here, I'm just going off for more skills. I mean, JJ more experience in a kind of way, as far as like women that she has fought. Marcy Barber, Paulina Viviano, Danielle Taylor, Cheng Ming Joy, Julian Limo. Yeah, she's a little more. She wasn't the Ultimate Fighter tough. She's a little more experienced, right? But man, this is skill sets. This is skill set and the technicality. More well-roundedness. I have to go with Vanessa. So mostly the ground too. So I'll go Vanessa for the win here, and I'm gonna say Vanessa by submission, but not confident at all. Not confident at all, guys. You can even fade that if you want. I mean, just to be honest with you, because you can go either way. All right. Next fighter, we got Dustin Jacoby versus Darren Stewart. This is going to be a crazy one here, guys. It's going to be a crazy fight. Jacoby here is going to be the more technical striker, man. Have a kickboxing base there, right? He's going to even have the 3-inch of height and the 4-inch of reach, which is massive. Like I said, kickboxing base. He's a more experienced guy here as far as the kickboxing. I mean, the guy has over tons of kickboxing matches, man. He has a lot of kickboxing matches, guys. A lot over in Glory too. Being in the UFC too from way back. So this guy, been in the UFC from 2011, 2012. So you can say he's kind of a veteran. So this guy been there, done it. But he can get taken down though. But from what I've been noticing against Ian Cutabello, his takedown defense has been getting better. Even against Max Ingrishin, his takedown defense has been getting better. And he will come back and win the fight, man. The fight went to a split decision, you see. But then in the first round with Ian was destroying him. I think it was like a 10-8 round. And even though Ian was taking him down, he was still getting up. I think that took him down 8 times in that first round, but he was keep on getting up. So his takedown ground defense has gotten better. Darren Stewart is not going to take him down so much because Darren Stewart will gas out. Darren Stewart gasses out quickly in his fights, man. Because he throws everything with maximum power. And with Darren Stewart, he doesn't conserve his energy well. So tends to kind of just wing it. And when you do that, you're just gassing yourself out. He throws and miss. And each time you're missing, your energy bar just goes down. Stewart is heavy-handed. He's quick at the movement, but doesn't conserve his energy. He will gas out quickly, even in that first round, man. He may be the physical stronger guy here and more athletic in a kind of way. And he will also look for the takedowns and also look for submissions too. So this is a guy that's kind of sneaky also, but his main thing is to strike. But man, he doesn't conserve his energy properly. And technicality wise, on a stand-up fight, Dustin is way more different level of striking. Different level. Stewart is going to try to wing it. He's going to try to throw over hands, and his footing may not be there. The way how he moves towards him may not be there. Dustin may be hitting him with that jab, and Dustin has a nice jab on him. Like what you see with Ian, he was hitting Ian with that jab. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, Stewart does get tired, and Dustin does kind of get tired too, but then he will compose himself and pull off the 3-round victory. So I'm liking Jacoby for the win here. And I'm going to say Jacoby by decision, guys. This one I'm kind of slightly confident in it, but I'm like in between. I'm confident but not confident because Stewart does pack power, and if Stewart land that one punch, he may catch Jacoby and knock him out. But let me see. I don't think Jacoby. I think he's been finished before. I'm not sure how much times though, but let's see here. We finished 110. So I feel Stewart has a puncher's chance in this fight. You got a puncher chance, man. But again, anything is possible in this game, nothing guaranteed. So I'm not really too confident in it, but I am. So, like I said, Jacoby by decision. Okay. Sam Alvey versus Wilton Thurman. Oh my goodness. This one is a heads or tails, guys. And I'm not disrespecting the guys. I'm just being honest. I mean, I'm just being honest, man. And freaking heads or tail or pass or whatever you want to do. I don't know. Sam Alvey lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, including a draw, which he did look good against Young. Close fight. And Span, he went to a split, had Span kind of in trouble. I noticed with these fights in the third round, he kind of picks up in the third round. Like he's a slow starter. And then he picks up in the third round, you know. But then he picks up right at the end of the last round, where it's kind of too late in a kind of way. So he'll be losing his fights in split. But man, Alvey, I mean, you can say Alvey's a kind of a zombie. Takes a lot of damage, but he's going to have a 3-inch of reach and 2-inch of height. He is low volume in the beginning, but then he picks it up as the fight goes on, right? But he will look for the knockout all rounds, though. He will keep going, keep pushing, and looking for the knockout, man. He's heavy-handed, and he's going to be the more experienced guy here. Let me see here. He will look to counter you also. So when you come at him, he will kind of move back in a kind of way and try to counter. But again, he's kind of low volume. Man, this is a tough one to pick, man. It's a tough fight to pick, man. Because I mean, none of these guys, you know, I mean, all these guys been losing, so it's just difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they've been looking, and the record is not. They haven't been looking good. They've been getting submitted. Knockout in a row. It's just a tough one to pick, guys. His opponent here, Wilton. Wilton been knocked out twice in a row too. But the thing about Wilton, what I noticed is that after he fought Andrew Sanchez and he got that knockout, he hasn't been the same. You know, just a slight touch and he just out. I mean, even though Bruno Silva was growing and pounding him, but the way how he look just doesn't look right. Look like something's not right, right? So, and that was in 2021 in June, and it's in August now, so it's not that far away, guys. It's kind of hard to pick a guy when you've been knocked out by ground and pound like that. And even the Andrew Sanchez fight, remember your face not meant to get hit, and when you get knocked out like that, it changes you, you know. You just take one knockout, you know, and your whole life is over. You'll never be the same anymore. All that confidence you had, all out the door. That memory is gone. So you know, that way you used to move and stuff is just not there anymore. And when you get touched, slight punch or kick, you're gonna go out again. Turman will gas though, man, and he will gas out in that first round, dude. And when he gasses, his confidence go. But it more looks like he has like a mental thing. Like I say, his mind is not in it. Like his mental not there. He will look for the takedowns and the submissions. I believe the BJJ black belt. But back-to-back knockouts just doesn't look good. His mentally, I just don't feel like he's there, man. His mind. He's a young kid, so I think that probably may be it. Maybe it's a little bit kind of rushed. You know what I'm saying? But back-to-back knockouts like that is not good. And the way he got knocked out is brutal. The Andrew Sanchez knockout was brutal. And he got knocked out in the air, then he just flew back and hit his head on the canvas. And then the Bruno Silva was just like ground and pounding, like just head bunks off the canvas, man. I'm gonna go with Sam Alvey, man, because I feel that there's something wrong with Turman, like mentally wise, and from that knockout from Sanchez, change him. I don't think it's the same no more, man. And with Sam Alvey, you know, yeah, he comes in there and, you know, he does the same thing over and over again, but, you know, his fights can sometimes be close, just depending on who he's fighting. I mean, he's fighting some tough guys here. These are not easy guys to fight. The guys that he's losing to, right? But if you look at Wilton Thurman, I mean, he's fighting Bruno Silva, which is a pretty tough guy, making his debut in UFC. Andrew Sanchez, he went to a split decision against Carl Robertson, lost a split decision against Carl Robertson. He just looks like I don't know, it's like his mind is not there, his mental is not there. So I'm gonna go with Sam Alvey, and I'm gonna say Sam Alvey by KO guys, and I'm definitely not confident. This is the fight in the card. This is if any fight in the card that I'm not confident in, this is the one. Zero confidence in this one, zero. So Sam Alvey by KO. And don't get me wrong, Turman could come in here and win too, most likely probably by a decision or something like that. But for him to take the fight to a decision, I mean, the guy gasses out. You know what I'm saying? He gasses out in the first round. So by the time he hit the second, third, Sam Alvey is going to get stronger. Because Sam Alvey gets stronger as the fight goes on. So most likely Sam Alvey may knock him out somewhere in the second or third. That's very possible. If not first. So Alvey by KO, man. Next fight here, we got Abdul Hiestand versus Alessio de Chacro. Abdul here, very heavy hitter, man. Got heavy hands, right? But this is the next guy that I would guess. He would gas out in the first round. He relies heavily on his heavy hands. So that guy has 10 by knockout. So basically, yeah, all his fights basically are just by knockout. And he has 10 of them, and the other 4 there is because of maybe, I believe he got knocked out once. Yeah. And the 3 losses by decision. So this is a guy that relies on knocking you out, meaning that all first round knockouts. He loses when he goes third round, or if he gets knocked out in the first. So this is a guy where if he doesn't finish you in the first round, he's done. And he's been fighting like that all his life. From 213 he's been fighting like that. So I mean, and every single fight that he loses, he comes in the same way. He's trying to hunt your head and knock you out, which that's how he fights. Ground game, I mean, he may have a ground game, but he may can get a takedown, but he will gas out. So he has to conserve his energy. So if he comes to this fight and kind of pick his shots, it may not favor him because that's not the way how he fights. He's not a technical fighter like that. He's more of a brawler. Kind of like he needs to be in the pocket to land the overhand on you. I'm not saying he's not a skilled guy, but it's just the way how he fights. You know what I'm saying? It depending on who he's fighting to. If he's fighting somebody who's going to fight in that manner, then he may win. Against Alessio here, Alessio is an experienced guy that has a ground game and fights long range. So this fight favors Alessio to win because he can go all rounds. Got a win over Buckley here by a head kick. The only way Abdul win this fight if he catches Alessio in the first round by a knockout. That's the only way he's going to win. If the fight prolongs in the second and third, Alessio going to keep the distance and range on him. He's going to keep that distance and range on him, right? 74 reach. Let me see the reach here. Pretty much close. He's an inch over him, and he's going to have the height advantage. But the thing about this fight is that Abdul can get taken down, and when he gets taken down, he's flat on his back for the entire round, and he doesn't get up. Now, can he make changes? Of course, he can always make changes, but when was the last time he fought? 2021 against Jacob, and he did the same thing. He just lay on his back, get taken down. Kiaz Williams with a fast finish. And against Lazzy, the fight went all 3 rounds. If he's unable to knock you out in the first, he's not going to win. Alessio here is the more well-rounded guy, right? And can take this fight anywhere. I feel like if he wants to stand up, he can. If he wants to take it to the ground, he can, right? He's going to have the height and reach advantage by a couple inches, 1 or 2 inch. And he's never been knocked out. That's the thing. He has never been finished. I think he's been submitted. Could be wrong. He has been submitted, but never been knocked out. So Abdul has to come in here and knock him out to win the fight. And last time Abdul had a knockout was against Nico Price in 2018. So, I mean, I'm going to go with Alessio here. And this is the next fight where I'm kind of confident, but I'm not, because there's a puncher's chance by Abdul. Like I said, I'm not here to disrespect the guys. I'm just being honest. There's a puncher's chance by Abdul, but he has to get in the first round. After the first round, he's going to guess. He's going to guess out in the fight. The only way he wins the fight if Alessio fights in the manner that Abdul wants him to fight in, which is phone booth style, in the pocket, where they're going to brawl and throw overhands. And Alessio is not going to do that. He may come in there and pop some shots long range and move out. Like I said, Alessio is a more experienced guy. He's a more well-rounded guy. So I'm going to go with Alessio for the win here. And I'm going to say Alessio by decision. And I'm slightly confident, but not really. So it may be my confident pick. But it's a fight where Abdul may have a chance, but puncher's chance. So Alessio by decision, guys. Next fighter, we got Jamall Emmers versus Makhmud Muradov. I can tell you now that the odds on this fight is going to be super high. I can tell you that now. I can see that Muradov is going to be a high freaking favorite. Maybe the highest favorite on the card. I haven't looked at the odds yet, but we're going to look at it after I finish all this, guys. All right. Jamall Emmers here, man. He's going to have the 2-inch of reach, right? But he's a very slow starter. And we know what Gerald wants. He wants the ground. 24 by submission. He has 24 by submission. This is an experienced guy, though. So I'm not. I mean, you don't sleep on guys like this because he has a chance to win. And like we see here against Barboza, he pulled off the guillotine. If he gets what he wants, he will win, obviously, right? Like I said, he's a slow starter, though, and he's slow at the movement too. But he will get that submission, though, and he's been knocked out 3 times. The one thing about this fight where I say that Muradov is going to be the bigger favorite because the speed advantage and also the technicality in the striking. I mean, Muradov striking is on point, dude. I mean, light on his feet, in and out movement, they pop the jab, his combinations. You know what I'm saying? They mix up the kicks with the punches. He moves nice in there, man. So Meerschaert is slow at the movement and even slow at the takedown. The only way he's going to win this fight if he can tie up Muradov against the cage and maybe pull him to the ground. Or, yeah, at least pull Muradov into his guard. Or somewhere or another, get him against the cage when he's tired or something and, I don't know, drop for a leg or jump for a neck. Maybe a guillotine. I mean, that's the only way. But on movement, Muradov all day. Muradov has 17 by KO. Very well-rounded guy. He also has good takedown defense. Decent striker, very accurate, and he does gas out, though. I noticed that, but he will still pace himself, right? And he usually gasses out in the 3rd round. He can be submitted, though. He can be submitted, guys. He's been submitted 3 times. Okay, so there's a chance for Jamall Emmers to submit him. Okay, but the speed advantage, the timing, the precision. Speed advantage, the timing and precision in his movement, his footwork is going to throw Gerald off, man, completely. Right? He's going to throw him off, man. He's going to pick his shots, move around, and possibly get a KO TKO. I mean, if Meerschaert throw one jab, this guy throws 6 punches and mixed up with the kicks. You see 6 punches along with kicks coming. 2 Meerschaert 1 punch. Because Meerschaert don't really strike like that. He's not really. I mean, Meerschaert will throw some kicks here and there, but he's slow at the movement. By the time he lifts his leg up to throw, this guy already hit him with a jab. So I have to go with Muradov for the win here. And I'm gonna say Muradov by KO TKO. And this is a fight where it could look similar to Andrew Sanchez fight. The only thing is that Andrew Sanchez is quicker than Meerschaert, so it could be an easier fight. You maybe can see a 1st round finish for Muradov, right? Andrew Sanchez is a quicker fighter, and Andrew Sanchez will die for takedowns, and he's quicker. He's quicker than Gerald. Okay, so he can close the distance a little quicker and maybe throw some strikes at a relative speed. And Andrew Sanchez striking is actually gotten better. And I believe, but I don't believe, I know Andre Sanchez striking is better than Gerald striking as far as speed and timing and technicality. So, yeah, so this should be an easy fight for Muradov, and it's a confident pick for me. I can tell you now, Muradov's going to be a high favorite, dude. Again, I'm not sleeping on Merchant, but speed, man. Speed, position, and striking. Fight starts standing up. The guy has takedown defense. Gerald doesn't really shoot long distance with double single leg takedowns like that. And if he does, with the speed he has, he's going to get sprawled on. I mean, that's just it. He's going to get ground and pounded. But the only thing, though, Muradov cannot go to the ground with him, though. If he's sprawling him, he has to freaking stand back up. If he's sprawling him and try to stay on the ground with him, I mean, that's a mistake what a lot of guys make with Merchant, and Merchant lock on. It's kind of like, what's that guy name? It's kind of like Paul Craig in a kind of way. But Paul Craig is a better submission artist, though, in a kind of way. Paul Craig will, once Paul Craig locks it in, he got it. You know, Merchant will lose the submission. Paul Craig's a little bit more a Venus flytrap. Merchant is kind of like a Venus flytrap kind of too, but then he will lose the submission, though. You understand? So yeah, I got Muradov by KO guys. Could be first round too. All right. Next fighter, we got Andrew Petroski versus Micheal Gillmore. This is one of the tough fights here, guys. I believe there's a finale. Andre here, tough tournament. He will gas out in this fight. Has a wrestling base on him, and he will definitely look for the submissions. Also ground and pound, heavy ground and pound, and he will stand up and strike with you. But he gasses out quick though, man. Like in the first round, he looks smooth, he looks good, going for takedowns, bam bam bam, doing his thing. After the first round, he just gets tired. The only reason why I would go for Andre here because he's a 185er. May have a bigger frame, which I have to watch the face-offs and the weigh-ins for that, which you can check out my Patreon account, because that's where I'm going to have all the face-off and weigh-in plays, right? So Micheal is actually a 165er, also fights at 170 and a 175er. So in a kind of way, Andre is going to be, probably may have the bigger frame here, right? But Gillmore here, Gilmore has more of a striking base, and he wants to keep this fight standing, right? But he tends to get taken down, though. Even though he would sprawl and defend, but he can get taken down. All his 3 losses are by submissions, right? Even in his amateur, he's been submitted. He got knocked out one time, but by triangle armbar, choke, standing guillotine, and triangle choke. So this fight is a risky one, because if Andre gasses out, you can see Gilmore maybe getting a knockout in this fight, because when Andre gasses out, he doesn't go for takedown no more, and he just gets sloppy. Right? Micheal may gas out, but he still compose himself, but then he can get taken down though. So this is a toss up, and I'm not confident in this one, guys. But I'm gonna go Andre for a submission here, and the only reason I'm picking Andre because he may have the bigger frame, and he originally fights at 185, and he fights at 185, and Micheal here is moving up to 185. See, he fights at 175, 165, so he gonna have a smaller frame here. I mean, and he's never fought at he fought at 180, but the guy Andre probably walks around massive. And he does look like a bigger guy on frame from us watching the fights. But again, the face-off and wins will definitely show that. But for right now, I'm going with Andre for the win by submission, guys. Next fight here, we have Kevin Lee versus D-Rod. Daniel Rodriguez. D-Rod in the house, boy. My boy D-Rod. Kevin Lee here, coming back from surgery. I believe he had 2 surgeries on his knees. That's massive. Kevin Lee will fade in his fights, man. He usually fade out he could fade in the first round, man. But you know, he doesn't fade too bad in the first, but in the second is more obvious. He has a wrestling base on him, right? He has a wrestling base on him. And most of the time, if he gets into too much furies, like he start throwing his punches like a lot of volume and wrestling and punching, he start gassing out. So he has to compose himself in this fight. If he goes in there and start, getting over aggressive and get over emotional, because he does get emotional in his fights, and start throwing a bunch of punches and go for takedowns, he's gonna gas so quick, man. And when he gasses out, man, he's done. You can submit him, you can prep him up with shots. He's just done. Doesn't move his head ups on the line too well either. He is well rounded though, don't get me wrong, and he's heavy striker and it's good wrestling base, but he can get hurt on the foot. And when he gets hurt, he gets staggered, right? He can get submitted. He's very athletic guy, strong wrestling base, but mentally though, he will fade. And he will fade under that pressure, man. Mentally, he break under that pressure, man. And he gets emotional in the fights, man. And when he gets emotional, it's like everything goes out the door, and it's like he's not really focused anymore, and he just loses it, right? That's one thing about him. It's kind of hard to pick Kevin Lee to win fights, because he's just, what I'm saying, he's not consistent. Lost against Charles Oliveira, win against Greg Gillespie. He set him up with that, got to cut him with a head kick, which is a good knockout. He set up that combination there. 2 losses in a row. Edson Barboza won that fight. And then before then he was doing pretty well, but in his later fights here, just not doing too well. Against the opponent here, D-Rod in the house. He's a pretty well-rounded guy, man. We look for the KO and also look for the submission. D-Rod can box, man. He got some hands in him, man. He got some hands in him, man. I believe he can take this fight anywhere if he really wants to. He can take you down, he can submit you, and he can box. He got better. He's gonna have better hands than Kevin Lee does. The only thing that Kevin Lee may have a little bit of speed advantage on him, but if you look at D-Rod here against Preston Parson, we say he was training with Donald Cerrone. He came in there looking good in that fight. Matt Perry looked good against Nicholas Dalby to that fight on short notice. So when this guy's prepared to have a full camp, this guy is a dangerous guy, man. He looks pretty good in there, especially with his boxing, man, and his movement. And like I said, he got takedown defense. He has a nice jab on him, and that's the thing, the jab. And Kevin Lee don't really move his head too well off center line, man. That jab, man, and the heart, the mental. And D-Rod has that. Kevin Lee will break. I'm not sure who the favorite going to be in this one. They may have Kevin Lee as favorite, but I'm liking D-Rod for this, man. Again, Kevin Lee could come in here after surgery. His knees probably, maybe in his other fights, his knees was giving him problem. You never know. That's probably why he was losing. Now should be in better shape, I guess, after surgery. But, man, I'm liking D-Rod for the win here, guys. I think D-Rod is more composed. If he comes in here on a full camp, you're going to see the hands flying, man. And he can also get submissions too. So I'm going with D-Rod for the win here. And I'm going to say D-Rod by KO, TKO, but I'm not confident because, like I said, I'm not here to disrespect the guys. I'm not sleeping on Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee is a good fighter too, and he could win the fight. He's going to be the quicker fighter here. But it's just the mental, man, and the heart, and just the emotional things in the mental state to keep going and don't break under pressure and slow down in the fight. I feel like Kevin Lee, from what I've seen from his fights here, just been slowing down and just, he just doesn't look good in the fights. So like I said, it could be because of his knees, and maybe, now he took had surgery and then come back stronger. He probably can pull off a win, but I'm going to go with D-Rod. I'm going to say D-Rod by a KO, TKO, guys. All right. Next fighter, we got Ricky Turcios versus Brad Hiestand. This is the next tough competition here, guys, off of the Ultimate Fighter show. Ricky here is a cardio machine, man. This guy will keep going. Lots of cardio, and he will get into brawls. And he's a pretty well-rounded guy. He can take this fight anywhere. Tricky with the striking, switch up stance, hit you from different angles, kind of unorthodox striking. He can get wild at times, but he will look for takedowns. But he seems more comfortable on the stand-up. And like I said, this is a guy that will keep going, and he does get sloppy at time. But this guy's game, though, he will keep pushing, man, and he's not going to give up, right? Coming out to team alpha male there. His opponent here, Brad Hiestand, looks physically strong and looks to want to wrestle, right? his striking is kind of wild. He's more of a grinder, so he more looks to push us to wrestle, where Ricky would more mix it up. So this is a fight where I feel Ricky is more well-rounded. So I have to push more towards Ricky for the win here. But again, anything is possible here, guys. I mean, like I said, nothing guaranteed. I mean, Hiestand could come in here and just grind out a win, but Ricky got submissions, and then Ricky got movement, and the striking is not bad. So I'm going to go with Ricky for the win here. And like I said, these are Ultimate Fighter guys from off the show, so you got to be careful with this one, right? So I'm going to go with Ricky by a decision, guys. All right, Ricky Turcios by a decision. Next fight here, guys. It's going to be the co-main event. We got Bryan Battle versus Gilbert Urbina, which is supposed to be a next guy here instead of Urbino. I forgot the name of the guy. I forgot the name of that guy, but I think he got injured. The guy was from off the show. Take a quick look real quick. I believe Urbina lost against that guy that was on the show. Yep, it was against this guy here, Treason Gore. Yeah, so Treason Gore beat him in this fight. Actually knocked him out. This guy here, the Treason guy, has power in him, man. He has raw power. So Treason got injured. So he was supposed to be in the finale, but then he got injured. So Gilbert came in and took his spot, right? So now we have Bryan versus Gilbert, and Bryan Battle here. Bryan Battle. His last name is Battle. That's cool, man. He's a rangy guy. He's well-rounded. Stand-up is, you know what I'm saying? These guys are... These guys are on the show, and then, you know, a lot of them is kind of making their debut into the UFC. You know, they're going to be their first time, you know what I'm saying? But they've been on the show fighting, and, you know, they build up the experience, and he has a big amateur. So, you know, in time, they will get better and better, but his striking can be sloppy at times. But his submissions is thin though. So I feel like his ground game is where he shines the most. And Gilbert also shines on the ground too. So this is a fight where, man, this is the one where it can go either way, guys. Because even though Gilbert got knocked out in the fight, and Bryan won his fight, because Bryan actually made it to the finale, but Gilbert actually lost against Treason. So, I mean, Gilbert though has a good ground game too. So this is a fight where Gilbert could probably get a submission. It's possible. And also Bryan could also get a submission. But I feel Bryan's stand-up is a little more elusive, and with Gilbert gets hurt in the foot easily, man. He doesn't move his head off center line. So Gilbert, his range too, he looks to strike, but doesn't move his head at all, man. He can get hit with jabs, and like I said, he got knocked out against Treason, right? His head stayed right on that center line. Got KO'd on the show against Treason Gore. His strength though is his ground game, and he will look for the submission. So this is both guys that have good ground games who will look for submission. But I feel like Bryan Battle, he's more durable. You understand? And when the fight starts standing up, he's more durable, and you know he can take a little bit more damage than what Gilbert can. You know, Gilbert get hurt easily, man. So that's why I'm gonna go with Bryan Battle for the win here, but again, I'm not confident. And this is a fight where Gilbert's just jumping in there because Treason got injured. So Bryan Battle by submission, and I'm not confident in this one, guys. 0, because like I said, these guys are coming off the Ultimate Fighter show. So you know, I mean, these guys, you know, some of them has the experience there, but you know, they're making their debut. I mean, you never know. So. You never know, man. I mean, anything is possible here, guys. Yeah, I must say Bryan by submission, but again, Bryan been submitted though, and Gilbert hasn't. So it probably could be more like Gilbert submit Bryan, ain't it? But I'm looking at more overall game here. You know, a guy could lose by submission, but that doesn't mean he has to be submitted again. I'm looking at more the overall game, and I feel Bryan, you know, is more durable. Will push the fight. With Gilbert can get hurt in the fight, And like I said, he's been knocked out. And he got knocked out bad in that fight too. Like I think all 2 or 3 rounds, he was getting hit by jabs and getting knocked down consistently. So I'm liking Bryan. I'm gonna say Bryan by submission. I'm not confident. Okay. Main fight on the card, guys. Main fight on the card, which is gonna be a good matchup here. We got Edson Barboza versus Giga Chikadze. Edson Barboza here, man. Very well-rounded guy. Striking base. Grown game. His takedown defense has been getting better. He's an American top team, so he's sharpening that up. At 145, he looks amazing at 145. You know, he's been winning a lot more at 145, right? See something here. Yep, he looks good at 145. Heavy leg kicks, switch kicks. His leg kicks are dangerous, man, and devastating. Destroy your leg, man, destroy your calf. Barboza is going to throw more volume here. With Giga, he throws his technique and he does throw heavy, but with Giga, you just take one shot, man. And if he goes to the liver, goes to your head with a kick, could knock you out. But Edson Barboza is a good striker. Been striking from when he was young too. Giga been striking from when they were young too. So both of them have good striking game, man. But the one thing about this fight, Giga gotta keep moving though. And the thing about this fight are the leg kicks from Edson Barboza. You know what I'm saying? Giga gotta keep moving his feet. He can't sit heavy down on his foot, especially the front lead leg. He gotta keep moving that, or else he's gonna get his foot eat up by leg kicks, right? Edson Barboza could mix up the fight here. He could go for takedowns because it's an American top team and they usually mix up everything, striking with the takedown. So if he can mix up this fight here, it would more, you know, be better for him, right? Because to stand up with Giga just like that and striking, I'm not saying Edson can't win, but Giga is a good striker too, and Giga comes from a kickboxing background too, with a lot of fights. He has a lot of fights. I believe in, I said Glory? Glory, right? Yeah, in Glory. He has a lot of fights, man. This guy is a good kickboxer, man, and powerful striker too. Giga here is pretty well-rounded guy also. Grown game has gotten better, man. I must admit that. You know, I see him against Morales, Jamall Emmers, even though against Jamall Emmers, I felt Jamall Emmers won that fight. Brandon Davis, I believe that fight was going to go to Brandon Davis and the switch at the last minute. His experience in the cage, it's not as experienced as Barboza is. Barboza has more experience in the cage, man. Way more experience in the cage, man. And then Barboza is at a good camp, which Kings MMA is also a good camp too. So both of these guys are coming from a good camp. This is a good matchup, like I said. And Giga would look for openings, and he looked to land that one shot, that front kick down the pocket. You know what I'm saying? That Meerschaert to the head, spinning back kick, spinning heel kick. You know, but again, Barboza possessed those same techniques too. But I feel Barboza throws some devastating leg kicks, even body kicks too. Both of these guys throw devastating kicks, man, and punches. Their tools, their techniques is very devastating, man. Both of them can decide. This might be a good fight, man. It's a 5-round fight too. The only thing about this fight though, it's a 5-round fight, and Giga does get tired, man. He does gas out. Barboza will gas out too, but what I noticed at 145, Barboza carries himself a little better, right? He conserves his energy a little better, right? He doesn't gas out as easier like he does when he was at 155, right? Giga will gas though, and just the opponents that he's been fighting, Cub Swanson is faded, man. Jamie Simmons, I mean, Omar Morales. I mean, Omar Morales is a good fighter, but experience. Irvin Rivera, same thing. Jamall Emmers is a good fight, but Jamall Emmers, I felt, won that fight. And Brandon Davis could have won that fight too. So it's like, I feel that the more experience is on Barboza's side. And Barboza have seen the strikes already. So it's not like it's something foreign to him that he never seen. But the 5-round fight, and if Barboza plays that game plan, kind of clinch game, look for takedowns, ground and pound, push off, a lot of leg kicks, because Giga gotta keep moving. And if Giga don't move his legs, he's gonna get his legs eaten up, man, by a lot of leg kicks. So he can't sit, because there's sometimes he likes to sit down on the front heavy. If he sits down on the front heavy, his legs gonna get chewed up, and that's what I'm looking at in this fight. And also the takedowns from Barboza, because Barboza, like I said, the American top team has been switching up the game, and at 145, he's a little more versatile in switching up the game from stand-up to takedowns, and he conserves his energy a lot better at 145. So that's why I'm gonna go with Barboza for the win here. Again, Giga could win the fight. I'm not confident in this one, because we do see Barboza. You know, he can get hurt in the fights, man. He can get hurt in his fights, man, get put out, right? And Giga pack power, man, and his techniques, especially his body kick to the liver, his head kicks. You know what I'm saying? He's never been finished. 8 by KO for Barboza, been finished though, I believe 3 by knockout. So I mean, but 13 by knockout though. So like I said, Barboza has the most devastating leg kicks I've seen. The switch kicks, even to the body too. Spinning heel kicks. His spinning heel kicks are devastating too. Would change your life. Spinning back kicks. So these guys are kind of similar, man. I think Giga is more of a karate style. It's more of a Goju-Ryu kind of vibe, and I think Barboza is more of a Muay Thai, but he has Taekwondo also. I could see it. You know what I'm saying? Some of the techniques he's throwing him over Taekwondo, spinning heel kicks and those things, right? So I like this matchup, but it's a very close matchup because, like I said, it takes one shot, guys. And with guys like this that throw with full-on power, with freaking legs and punches, I mean the punches, yeah, but the kicks are devastating, man. And Giga got good hands too, and Giga is quick, but Barboza is also quick too. But I feel that Barboza has that MMA edge to him, where he can mix up a little more. And coming from American top team, he can strike for a little bit and surprise you with some takedowns. And it's also a 5-round fight, and Giga will gas out. And when he gasses out, he tends to be on the back foot, going backwards, right? On the back foot going backwards, but then he's looking to counter you though. So you gotta be careful with that. Also, Barboza looks to counter you too. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Barboza for this one. And I'm going to say Barboza by decision, a close fight though, man, a 5-rounder. You can see Giga even get a split decision, so be careful with this one. It's a fight where it can go either way, but to carry a fight, Giga hasn't been 5 rounds, and this fight could go to decision, and Giga hasn't been to 5 rounds before. Giga hasn't fought a 5-round fight. Even his kickboxing matches are 3 rounds. You know, Barboza has fought 5 rounds though. I don't think he went all 5. I think he went all 5 though, but he's been in 5-round fights though. Giga hasn't. Even his kickboxing matches is all 3-round fights. So it's gonna be his first time potentially going to 5-round. And Edson Barboza fought 5 rounds. I believe he lost. Dan Ige was it Paul Felder? Justin Gaethje, yeah, but he lost in that first round though. Didn't go all 5. Dan Hooker, Kevin Lee, he went almost all 5, but then the stoppage for cut. So, but he, you know what I'm saying, he has experience in that, so he can carry the fight, and he looks good at 145, man. He looks good at 145, man. He only lost 1 time at 145 against Dan Ige, but that was a freaking robbery. That was the biggest robbery ever, man. Edson Barboza won that fight by unanimous decision, easily. So in my eyes, he hasn't lost at 145 yet. In my eyes, they robbed him in this fight big time. And be careful, because they could rob him against Giga. Because it's like, you look at Edson, you know, he's going by age, is 35, he has 22 and 9, but the guy's still a good fighter. At 145, he looks good. Giga is 32, you know, 33. I'm just going by the age, and he's a devastating striker too. But you never know. He goes to the judges, man. If it's not like a devastating beating in every single round, whereas like it's obvious that Barboza win, you could see a split decision for Giga if the fight is really, really, really freaking close, man. You know what I'm saying? Or even if it's not even that close, it could just be a freaking straight up robbery, man. Giga gets split decision. Similar to Paul Felder, they robbed him in Paul Felder too. He actually won the Paul Felder fight, right? So basically, he should be 4-fight win streak right now. So I'm going for Barboza. I'm gonna say Barboza by decision, and I'm not confident, guys. Okay. Quick look here at the odds. I'm very curious to see what the odds look like. I'm always curious to see what the odds look like, man. Let's see some ridiculous things now. Some high-ass odds. I can tell you that the Muradov is going to be the highest odd on this card. I can guarantee you. Emmers, 160 straight across against Pat Sabatini. Close to even. Yeah, close to even. Yeah, I can see Jamall pulling off the win here. But be careful though, because Pat could edge it. But I have Jamall. I like Jamall for the win, but be careful because Pat could win it. So close to even. Okay, I agree, but be careful. Guido and Mana Martinez. Nope. Martinez is too high, man. And the reason why I'm saying that because he's making his debut. He lost the Contender Series. He got submitted in 2-fight winning streak. But Guido been in the UFC fighting, even though he's 2-6. I said you can't have this Martinez guy such a high favorite. It's too damn high, dude. There's no way. No way. This fight should be close to even in my book. Should be an even fight in my book. No way it's 300. So be very, very freaking careful with this one. All right. Dustin Jacoby Stewart. Jacoby 170. I don't disagree with this too much, but I could see Jacoby being a little bit lower. Slight lower, maybe close to even, maybe like 150. Because Stewart may have a chance, a puncher's chance. But I don't disagree though. JJ Adjus. Wow. JJ Adjus for you. What the hell? Oh, hell no. This one is totally off, guys. Vanessa, guys, is totally off. I have Vanessa winning. But it's an even fight though. It's an even fight. So the odds in this is totally, in my opinion, is off. I could be wrong. JJ Adjus could come in here and then pull off a freaking win. You know, you never know. Pull off a win very easily too by 300-400s. Yeah, you know, she has to win, right? But the odds, I disagree, man. So be very, very, very careful with this one. I have Vanessa winning. Even fight. Alvey, Turman. This fight should be straight up even, man. I mean, not even close. Freaking even. Which it looks like it may be even by the time the Saturday come around. So it's kind of close, but even fight. That's all I have to say. I mean, this one is a toss up, dude. So even fight for me. So the odds in here I wouldn't mess with. I'd be careful because Sam Alvey could win, which I have Sam Alvey winning. Alessio and Abdul. Alessio is okay, 200. I don't disagree with this in a kind of way, but Alessio could be a little lower. I wouldn't put him at 200 because Abdul, he could have a puncher's chance, but Alessio had never been finished, so I could see why, and Alessio could take the fight down. But I'd say more like 160, 170. I wouldn't have him at 200 though, because it's MMA, man, and anything can happen. The gloves are 4-ounce gloves. Anything can happen, man. Just take one freaking punch. I mean, you know, Alessio has never been knocked out, but that doesn't mean he can't get knocked out though. You know what I'm saying? So I disagree with this. It could be a little lower. Maybe 160, 170. But I don't really disagree all the way. But I disagree a little bit. So still be careful. But I do like Alessio though. And I was right. Muradov is the highest favorite here. Of course he's going to be. Do I disagree with him being 650? Well, he's been submitted 3 times. So does Gerald has a chance? It's a confident pick for me. He has a submission chance, but the speed advantage though, man. He's gonna have to tie up Muradov. He's gonna have to tie him up or find some way to get him to the ground. And from what I've seen, I just don't think it's possible, man. I mean, anything is possible, but not in this fight though. But again, I still wouldn't sleep on Gerald Merchant though, man. Muradov is high though, dude. I don't think I have Muradov so high, to be honest. Even though I have him as confident, I'll probably put him at maybe 200. I wouldn't have him so high, man, because he can lose by submission. He's lost by 3 by submission already. And Gerald Merchant is a more experienced guy, man. I mean, even though his speed advantage there, but you never know. Gerald may find a way. You know what I'm saying? Anything is possible, man. But yeah, I don't disagree. But be careful because the odds is high. So I say 200 for Muradov, but I can see Muradov winning, and it's a confident one. Micheal, Gilmore, Andre Petroski. Petroski. Yo, hell, no way, guys. No. Andre at 5? No way. No, be careful with this one, guys. This one is a no. This is one of the tough guys here from up the show. Be careful because Andre will gas out. Even though he has a strong wrestling base, he will gas out in the first, and Micheal can strike. Even though Micheal can get taken down and submitted, but he can strike, though. And he can defend takedowns, but Andre gasses out, though. And when he gasses out, he doesn't look good. So for him to be at 590, no way. And when he gasses out, he can get knocked out. So I disagree. I disagree with this one. This one, I mean, I have Andre winning, but this fight is an even fight. And the odds should not look like that. No way, man. No way. So be careful with this one, guys. Very careful. Daniel Rodriguez, Kevin Lee. Of course, Kevin Lee going to be favorite, as I thought he would be. I have D-Rod winning, and I disagree with the odds in this one. It's kind of close, but I would say this is an even fight, man. Coming off of knee surgeries, both knees, from what I researched and see. Maybe it could be one knee, but I think it was 2. But from what Kevin Lee been performing and what he's been doing and his mental state, just doesn't look good. And he shouldn't be like 160. He should be even. Should be even with D-Rod. D-Rod been looking good, especially in a full camp. So, yeah, I disagree with the odds on this one, man. Be very freaking careful. Be careful with Kevin Lee, man. Be careful. Ricky Turcios versus Brady Hiestand. Ricky Turcios is 170, 160 something straight across. I like Ricky for this one. But tough guys, man. I wouldn't be so high on the odds on them. I would say Ricky more maybe like close to even, maybe like 140, 130. So be careful with this one, but I do like Ricky though. All right. Bryan Battle, Gilbert Urban. I can see why Battle is the high favorite because he basically got to the spot here. He got to the finale, right? Gilbert actually lost. He got knocked out by Torso. Is his name Torso? I think so. Oh, that's probably pronounced that wrong. But he got knocked out, and I can see why Battle is the favorite. But also remember that Gilbert has a submission game, and Bryan been submitted, and Bryan's stand-up is not close to the guy that Gilbert fought. But Bryan does have stand-up, and he's more durable. But I would say this fight is an even fight for the fact that the grappling aspect from Gilbert too. So be careful because Gilbert could come in here and submit Battle, man, and Battle been submitted. So keep that in mind, man. Keep that in mind. I like Battle for the win, but he could get submitted by Gilbert. Remember, I told you that. So I disagree with the odds in here. This should be even. Okay? Edson, Barboza, and Giga, exactly how I see it. At least they got this one right. Even fight straight across. I don't disagree. Both guys are pretty much kind of mirror image. Only one thing though, I feel Barboza may have the edge on the ground. He has more well-roundedness when it comes to MMA. So I agree with this. Fights that I don't agree with though, the ones that are kind of not too high in a way and I have the guys winning, I may not look at that too much, like the Jamall Emmers. Okay, I do see Pat can win though. I'm not confident, but I can see Emmers being a 140 because it's close still, right? Manny Martinez, be freaking careful with that one. Very, very careful. That one I disagree with. Dustin Jacob, okay, that can slide. I mean, I could see him pulling it off. JJ Andridge, be freaking very careful with that one. So JJ Andridge and Manny Martinez, be very careful. Alessio at 200, be careful, but I could see him winning, so it's not as bad as JJ and Manny, but still be careful. Same thing with Muradov. It's not as bad as Manny them. So Andre, be freaking very careful. That goes in the same basket. Andre fight goes in the same basket with JJ and Manny. Be very careful with that one. Ricky, I can see him winning, but like I said, he's not in the same basket with those other guys with the high odds. Same time, Bryan battle. Actually, Bryan battle fight. Yeah, be careful with this one too. This one should be an even because Gilbert could submit him. So Gilbert and Bryan battle. Be careful with that fight. Andre and Micheal. Be careful with that one. JJ Andrews and Vanessa, be careful with that one. And Guido and Manny, be freaking careful with that one. All right. So those are my predictions there, guys, my breakdowns. Check out WayneGitchie.com. Also check out my Patreon account. I have 2 Patreon accounts actually, Wayne Gitchie also, which I'll leave the link down below. I need those thumbs up, guys. I need those subscriptions. Okay. A lot more fights coming. A lot more fights coming early. I know I'll be coming out kind of late with them, but now I'm going to come out with them a little earlier now, no later than Wednesday. All right. And like I said, I will drop the face-off and the betting props on my Patreon account. So you guys go over there and sign up and show some love. All right. One love out to everybody. You guys keep on kicking. And